Welcome back to Newsmaker Live with me, Clinton Reynolds. Our special guest this evening is Mr. Brian Louisy. He is the Executive Director of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture. And he has just come off, as I said before, the successful 2012 St. Lucia Business Awards, the 3rd annual. And we were talking about other aspects of the chamber. We have been through the awards, which we have both agreed, and I think those people who were there or who witnessed it over the internet on television was a huge success. They would agree that it was a success. So now we're talking about the chamber itself and what the chamber is all about, what that organization does. We hear about the Chamber of Commerce all the time. Is it there just to pressure government to give big business breaks, or is it there to look after small business? Mr. Louisy was talking about that before we went to break, and I stopped him on the point. He was just highlighting, delineating every aspect of the chamber, or everything that the chamber does for its members. And let's go back into that, because I don't want our viewers to miss that point.
Okay. Well, I think, first of all, people must understand what the chambers are about. The chamber is really business people coming together and agreeing that, look, we have common interests, we have common issues that we want to resolve. We have common points of view as it relates to taxation, to legislation, government policy, government bureaucracy, customs, ports authority, the taxation, maybe as it relates to development control. So these are common things. So they said, look, rather than we leave our business and try to resolve these issues, let us get together, agree on what the issues are, and hire people full-time to look after those issues. And this is how they started off. So the chamber is here to look after the interests of the people, of the business community. Over the years, the chamber has grown in its perception, its understanding of the issues, and how it resolves the issues. And so not only do we look after the issues that affect business, and the thing about looking after issues that affect your members is that these issues affect businesses across the island, not just members. So you have what some people call the free rider syndrome, where people benefit from the work being done by the chamber, but they don't pay, they don't support the running of it. But that's just a fact of life. That's something that happens. We like to encourage more people to join the chamber. But that's what we do. So we offer a lot of representation services. We articulate to government the point of view of the private sector. It's very difficult for government to go out and poll each and every business to get a sense as to how business feels about certain issues and how it is impacted by government policy. So the chamber acts as a good focal point for that dialogue and discussion. And so we provide that kind of service to the government and to the business community and the country in that interface, in that dialogue, which is able to make it easier and more efficient, really. So we provide that representation when government is interested in looking at new policies like VAT. The chamber has taken a serious look at VAT and articulated in a very concise and cogent way what are the concerns for the business community. And government has taken these concerns on board and adjusted how they treat with that. The same thing with the labor code. The chamber says we have the business community, in fact, always said we have no difficulty with the labor code. It just must be fair and balanced. And we brought that point of view across. Again, it enhances the legislation, the policy. It makes it better for everybody. We strongly believe at the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce that what is good for the country is good for business. What's good for business is good for the country. And so our advocacy and the issues we raise and how we raise them is so that the business community can thrive. When the business community is thriving, employment grows. When employment is booming, you have increased profitability, salaries could rise, government revenue through taxation rises. If businesses are not making money, there's no taxation to be got from them. You cannot get blood from stone. Businesses only pay taxes in truth and in fact when they make profit. So you must create an environment where businesses can be profitable. And this is what the chamber does. But in addition to that, it is logical for the chamber to provide other types of services and benefits to members. A critical one is networking, where we bring business people together. In St. Lucia, we have organized what we call the Business Mixer program, where once a month, members and non-members could get together and socialize and get to mix and learn more about each other, about what people are doing in business. You know, we have regular training programs where it makes sense for the chamber to engage a facilitator or trainer to train 1 or 2 persons from a number of companies, because the company may be small, so it doesn't need to train 20 people, just needs to train 2. But it's very costly for a trainer to train just 2 people. The per capita cost is too high. So, you know, we bring people together and the chamber organizes the training, so everybody gets a better price. The trainer and the facilitator is better off for all of that. So we do a lot of training to enhance the productivity and effectiveness of workers. And we also do a lot of information dissemination, and that's one of the critical roles. Businesses across the world, when they're looking to make contact with other businesses, they generally look to the chamber. Also, the chamber staff is constantly monitoring trends to see what is happening, what may be affecting businesses, and sharing that with the members, sharing that with them so that they could understand. We organize discussion forums and information sharing forums as well. So we have a regular executive luncheon where we invite speakers to come and talk about topical issues. We also have what we call a second Tuesday. Second Tuesday suggests that every second Tuesday you could join us and have a discussion on a particular topic. Last year, we focused a lot on encounters with the public sector, where we brought the public sector to interact with the private sector. You know, we had customs, we had inland revenue, we had DCA. So you could better understand what are the expectations of these agencies from the private sector, what are the procedures, what are the policies. So we did that every second Tuesday of the month. This year we may change it around a little bit. It may not be encounters, but it'll be a different fillip. But it will also always be to provide critical and valuable information to the business community.
Now, how successful have those programs been?
Well, we're doing them again this year.
Well, I mean, it could be a situation of craziness. You repeat the same thing and not hope for a different result. No, but I mean, from what you're doing, I mean, can you see the changes in those businesses?
A lot of change is incremental, and sometimes behavior changes is not very evident. When you provide information and people are more informed, they act rationally, but maybe in a different way. I think the work we're doing is valuable. I think members are benefiting. I think there's real value to what we do. I think we would like to see more members take advantage and participate more in those activities, but they're really missing out on the great value of these things. You know, I've heard many a business person say, well, what's the chamber doing about it? I said, well, if you read the email or if you attended this function, you would know. And you say, oh, I didn't know the chamber. And you said, well, yeah, you know, you need to participate. It's not always just about the check. But, you know, we try to do things.
Now talking about that, I mean, that's a very important point. It's not always about the check, because you have in every organization members who are not active members, but they make their financial contributions. How much of that is evident in the Chamber of Commerce?
I think we are seeing greater participation, but the thing is that we have a range of programs. So you may not always find all firms participating in everything. It is my task to try to meet the needs of all members. Members have different needs at different times. Some firms are really interested in the advocacy because government policy is what bothers them. They could take care of their internal operational issues. And so they require the chamber to be a strong voice, a strong advocate, very analytical and very effective in impacting government policy. Other firms need assistance at the operational level. And I think that may be where we are probably the weakest, because helping firms at the operational level requires a huge amount of resources, which we don't always have. Fortunately, in the last 3 years, we implemented a very exciting project, which we called Competitiveness Through Linkages, where we bid on an EU project run by the government of St. Lucia, and we were successful, and we awarded the contract. And we are able to provide financial and technical support to a wide range, over 80 businesses in the last year, in the last 3 years, sorry.
And what kind of assistance?
Well, the Chamber proposed that the best way to improve competitiveness is not to offer a menu of services, but rather to do it on a firm level basis, to diagnose what were the constraints to a firm increasing its sales or making the sale. So if a firm had a problem in where let's put it this way, a buyer was interested in buying a product from a firm, but there was something preventing that deal from taking place, we would try to understand what that issue was. So we would say we don't want to hear the problem from the producer, we want to hear it from the buyer. And we will then try to convince the producer to make that change so that the buyer would buy the good.
Okay.
So we said what we did, we will, for every dollar we spent on a firm, we wanted to have a reasonable expectation that that firm will get a $5 increased sales. So we're looking for a 1 to 5 return.
So it's not a cookie cutter, you're not,
no, it's not a cookie
one
cutter.
size fits all, you're
No,
just
not
applying
at
it to
all.
blanket.
Not all. We went across, we looked at from agriculture to tourism, from manufacturers to service providers. So we did a wide range of stuff from small to large firms. We also worked in the rural communities of ancillary canneries and Miku area, where there was the poverty assessment report showed there was very serious poverty, and I think we have had an impact. So where the Chamber is able to access resources, we have the capacity and ability to deliver those types of support, which I think is very it has turned, we've turned the head, turned the game on its head to what is competitiveness, how competitiveness is achieved, and what is really demand. So we've done that.
Now, in terms of your membership, we talked a bit about that, but how many members does the Chamber have at present?
Presently, we have between 160 and 180 members.
Okay.
And we're seeking to grow on an ongoing basis.
Great. And I want us to go back on that. We'll do that after we take a break. And also when we come back from the break, I want us to talk about the differences between the Chamber of Commerce and, say, SLISBA and the Manufacturers Association, because you would expect that these organizations or members of these organizations too would be part of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture. You're watching Newsmaker Live with me, Clinton Reynolds, our special guest, Brian Louisy, and we'll be back right after these messages.